Let your soul and spirit fly into mystic. Let your soul and spirit fly into mystic. Into mystic. Into mystic. Into mystic.
Good evening and welcome back to Mystic Matters. We are the Greater Mystic Chamber of Commerce. Of course, pinch hitting again for Tricia Walsh is our chairman of the board, Jim Bates. Jim Bates, good evening.
Thank you. Good evening.
Nice to see you again.
Good to see
Well, you
you.
know, every show we always highlight either the Seaport or the aquarium, and I want to say that Aaron Mertz is back for the aquarium in 2013. Welcome back, Aaron.
Thank you.
So nice to see you once again.
You too.
And so what do we got going on?
Well, 2013 is a big year for us. It's our 40th anniversary.
Yes, it is.
October 6th, 1973 is when the aquarium opened. We were a bit smaller back then. We had about 2,000 animals. Today we have over 5,000. So we've definitely grown. We have a lot of celebrations, promotions, events going on all throughout the year, including Ocean Commotion.
Yes, September 21st. Thank you for the plug.
Mark your calendars. It's going to be a big one.
gonna be a very
We're going to have
big
some
one.
special guests.
Yes, we do. Yes, as a matter of fact, I did announce this at the last show, but we have the original cast of Jersey Boys from the Broadway, New York Broadway play, the original cast coming to Ocean Commotion. So save the date, but I'm not giving you any more details. That's it. I'm not. We're just going to save the date, and we're in that transformation period right now. As to we are tenting it. We are asking. Well, this year we're going to have 500 people, and we're asking for everybody's participation from the community. But I'm going to tell you right now, when the tickets go on sale, you buy it because it's going to be a sold-out event.
Absolutely, it's a great event. So piggybacking on that, if anyone wants to see what we have going on for our 40 years, mysticaquarium.org/40 years, all the information is there. And then starting in April, we are going to have a special reptile encounter, scales and tails, brand new hands-on activities with reptiles at the aquarium. So check our website for all of that good stuff and bring the kids. They love reptiles and they get to touch them, which is extra fun.
So Aaron, I do have it's just a question that I'd like to ask you. So, you don't remember 40 years ago, do you, when the aquarium was first built in 1973?
I'm about 10 years shy of remembering 40 years ago.
But Aaron's doing a great job for us at the aquarium, and it's going to be an exciting year. The Old Mystic Village, too, is celebrating their 40th anniversary, so a lot happening there, Jim Bates.
Sure is.
Okay. Thank you very much, Aaron.
Thank you.
I'll see you in a couple of weeks.
I'll be here.
Okay.
Take care.
So, Jim, the man that knows everything on downtown Mystic and all over Mystic, because you are the chairman of the board, what is going on?
Well, we have a lot going on. We have the St. Patrick's Day Parade coming up on the 24th, starting at 1 o'clock.
That's right.
Again, that's sort of the kickoff to the spring. People, it's funny, everyone's
Is it
coming
the
in.
kickoff, or is it your kickoff to the spring?
It's my kickoff to the
Okay.
spring.
Just wanna make sure
and it's
we
really
get that.
interesting because everyone you see, they're taking pictures and all these things starting to bloom, and I'm not a
Yes.
gardener or anything.
Yes.
But I'm hearing chatter that there's spring is starting to occur. So that's a good thing. And then as we're winding down with the bridge project, we have a lot of things geared up as we head into spring and into summer. Believe it or not, we're already starting to plan for the Outdoor Art Festival.
Yes, we are.
Looking for volunteers and sponsors, and just items like that. We're planning year round, and we're starting to get into the spring and summer phase.
Yeah, that's fantastic. And again, we will be reporting back as to where we are as we get closer to some of these great events like the Art Festival and the Taste of Mystic coming up. So we also want to remind people that it's very important as the Greater Mystic Chamber of Commerce that you understand that we do need you to support our local businesses, especially now coming up to the warmer weather.
Correct.
Businesses are open year-round. The restaurants are open. We are open anytime. And if you want to just kind of view our website, we always have things happening every month for business after hours and
Correct.
for business before hours.
We do business before hours, business after hours, once each per month. We also have the Groton Business Association, which has before hours once a month, third Thursday of every month, and just a lot of items going on.
Right. And Jim and Tricia will be doing various ribbon cuttings throughout the year. So what's encouraging, and want to let everybody know that when we do business ribbon cuttings, that means a new business has opened up.
Correct. That's
And
right.
so that is also very important that we report that out to the Chamber too. We have a new group at the Chamber. Tricia Walsh is the new president of the Greater Mystic Chamber of Commerce. She is very accessible
She is.
to everyone, and so please don't hesitate to email us or give us a call for any questions. So, you know, Jim, speaking of small business, I think it's only appropriate that you introduce our next guest.
Sure, sure. You know, I think for every small business, they have to have efficiencies. They have to be in line with technology and cutting edge, and it just helps them get through their day. And our guest today, really, his business is at the forefront of that. And it's Al Valente.
Welcome, Al.
Al, welcome.
There you are. There you are, Al. Camera and crew have got it just right. They're right on top of
Right
it.
on top.
That's right.
Yeah.
Great job, guys.
And Al, if you want to tell us a little bit about your business and how you got started and all.
Yeah, by all means. First off, my background is, I think, ideal for this in that my undergraduate was in engineering and economics, a lot of heavy math. And then in my career, I've run businesses. I've been a corporate controller, ran a hotel, ran a health club, all this kind of stuff. And I had many, many years in the computer field, where I was a consultant. I used to get my hands dirty, programming, so on and so forth. And then in 2007, I joined a bank in what's called Merchant Services. So that's a fancy word.
That's a term that I remember.
That's right. It's
Yeah.
a fancy word for credit card processing.
Right.
And businesses that want to accept, payments from Visa, MasterCard, and so on, need a Merchant Services account. And they all kind of got started in the early days with banks. And it's since migrated to banks and also independent processors, okay? So I joined the bank in 2007, and then in 2011, that bank got acquired. And the acquiring bank said, we don't do what you guys do anymore.
A lot of things get acquired.
A lot of things get acquired, we're in a state of flux and
Right.
things happen, And when one door closes, another door opens. So in 2011, I went independent, and I formed with a processor down in Pennsylvania, and I do credit card processing. But that's just the smallest part of it, because since 1966, say, when Visa and MasterCard were formed, it was kind of flatlining technology-wise. In the early days, people used to use these manual ink printers. Remember those with the carbon copy and all that kind of stuff?
Yes.
Yeah, okay.
I remember that. I remember
okay.
that.
I don't
Jim.
remember it too
Yeah.
much,
I
but
know.
I remember my parents talking
Jim
about it.
doesn't
Thank you,
remember
Jim.
And then,
I love Jim Bates.
yeah, it's really great. And then in the 60s, they kind of invented this little device with a telephone wire attached, which is kind of cool because you can get immediate authorization.
Right.
All right, so that's 66. I mean, from 66 in the 80s, that kind of came out. Lately, like within the last 5 years, due to Apple coming out, iPhone, iPad, it's really, really advanced greatly. We now have mobile devices, not only for accepting credit cards, but your wallet will go away. The wallet you currently have in your pocketbook, in your back pocket probably, will disappear.
Darn, I sort of like those designer wallets, Al.
Oh, there you go. Well, you get a designer cover for
iPad.
your iPad or your iPhone.
There you
That's
go.
how you do it.
Yeah.
And that's a really exciting world, because you're going to have an intelligent device in your pocket, that's your wallet, talking to an intelligent device at the store, that's the terminal. It's not just a dumb thing you swipe anymore. And that terminal is going to tell your smart device saying, do you realize you have a gift card for this store? Do you realize it's a coupon program? And it can all automatically account for that stuff. Then you authenticate, and the transaction takes place, and voila. And all this happened in the last 5 years. And prior to that, again, it was just like a slow, steady growth curve, and now it's kind of had this cusp taken off.
Now, when you go into work with a new business, how do you walk them through that? Do you just say, okay, here's sort of what I can do for you, or do you say, here's what I can do for you, but here's all the other things that you can utilize as well?
Right. I think you're both business people. I think you realize doing business is earning trust. Okay. So what I typically do when I talk to a prospective client is say, how can I help you? Well, typically the first way it happens is they may be feeling a little bit of pain in that they say, I'm getting this credit card processing statement. I don't understand it. It looks like the Dead Sea Scrolls. I can't figure it out. I don't know if I'm overpaying, underpaying, what I'm doing. And I'll say, fine. What we'll do is a cost analysis, no obligation. Mm-hmm. We'll just take your statement, run the numbers, and come back to you with an analysis side by side and see if we can find your savings. 9 times out of 10 we can. And 9 times out of 10, that starts the first step of a relationship. Mm-hmm. In so doing, we tend to listen to their business, how they run their business, what their products and services are, nuances of it, and say, oh, did you ever think about this? You know, maybe they have a brick and mortar store and they do 3 trade shows a year. And they may say, you know, I wish I could sell at the trade show, but you know, darn, those phone lines you need for your terminal cost $100 a day.
Yeah. Right.
And I'll say, well, did you realize, I'll say, do you have a smartphone on? Yeah, I have an Android phone. Do you realize for $99 a year, you can keep your merchant account, we'll put it on your phone and give you a swipe device so you get the swipe rate, and you could sell the product right at the trade show. And they go, oh, wow. So that kind of consultative thing comes in only after you earn a little bit of trust so you can give that advice and counsel and so on. Then truthfully, the fun side of my business, saving money is good, and I like to save people money, but the fun side is if I can help them increase their sales.
Yeah.
Okay. Today, I mean, after this recession we've been in, the hardest thing to do, shall I say, the hardest thing to do is get new customers. The last thing you want to do is lose your old customers.
Retention is very important.
Retention is very important. So there are tools for retention.
Right.
The greatest tool is some kind of a loyalty program. I don't know. If you had a coffee shop, you say, well, you buy 9 cups of coffee, you get the 10th one free. People are collecting their little things.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Or, you know, more sophisticated way today is through electronics, is that we can set up a loyalty card, a rewards card program, where every time they make a purchase, you give them so many points, whatever the ratio is that you decide. Mm-hmm. And they collect these points, and then they're redeemed for products in the store or services, that kind of a thing. Well, guess what? People will go out of their way to come back to your store or your business because they realize they're collecting points. Right?
Well, it's ironic. I mean, I'm listening to you, Alan. It's really neat that because we're of this new generation. But if you remember way back when, they used to punch holes, and you know they had this little like business card, and they say, "Oh, you're here again. You're dry cleaning. Okay, you know you've been here 3 times. Your next dry cleaning will be free." And you have to go into your wallet and find that card. And if you walk out because you haven't found the card, then you find it in your car. You come back in and you say, "Can you punch all these holes?" And you know, half the time you're like, "Oh, forget it. I'm just going to go because it's not worth it. I'm already in my car." So you've taken that step away, that hard step, that
right.
literally that hard copy, and just say, "Can you swipe this or whatever?"
Right.
So you've
That's
actually made it a lot easier for businesses.
Yeah, yeah.
do that.
And when you move away from atoms, and what I mean by that, paper.
Yeah.
You know, and I'm in the whole world of electronics. I want to do away with the paper dollar. I want that to just go away, get out of here, and just deal with electronic money that flies around like bits. That way, as you know, you
Oh, that's awful scary. And you know what? You heard it here at Mystic Matters, okay? Because if he comes back in the next 2 years and we're now paperless money, okay? But you know what? That's kind of scary, Al. How do you put businesses at ease? Because I will tell you, and I've, you know, Majestic has moved forward in many, many ways too, but it's still the mindset, and I have to get this because I also have some employees that you know have come a long way, but it's still the mindset of where is that information going? Okay, Al, you've got my cost analysis, but now it's out there in space for somebody to take a look at. So Explain that a little bit.
And first off, that's a very valid concern.
Yes.
That's a concern we all
Yes.
have. And
Because it never goes away like that.
that's right.
Because paper,
Yeah. Yeah.
Throw it out.
Right. Right.
done.
First off, the credit card processing business is a $1 trillion business. I mean,
Right.
between American Express, Visa, MasterCard. And they don't want, and the whole thing, by the way, is built on trust.
Sure, absolutely.
Okay? Because if
That's
people
the foundation.
lost the trust, they'll stop using the credit card. And that's the last thing they want. So they have this thing they call PCI security. You may
Okay.
know that
Yes,
in your
I
store
do.
as well. And there's all these rules and regulations on protecting customers' identity, all right? You don't want to store their credit card information electronically. If you do, there's all kinds of rules and regs to make sure there's a firewall and there's password
Yes.
protected, it's encrypted, all that kind of
Right.
stuff. So you're right. Your concern is valid, and we're addressing that through technology, basically. For instance, I have clients that would not store credit card information. Bravo. They would not. You want to pay an installment payment or whatever, you come down to my store and we'll swipe your card. All right, that's good. The customer said, this is kind of a hassle. Just store my data. But they don't want to because of security.
Yes.
Well, here's the solution. There's a company out there owned by Visa that has a server in the cloud with Fort Knox around it, encrypted the whole bit. So you could put that customer's credit card only data on that server. It's protected, end-to-end token protected, all the way up encrypted on the server, and Visa will worry about it. Okay, if anybody can crack into that, we got problems. Okay, so that's going to be protected. Then the merchant could, if Al wants to make a timely payment, my next month's payment, they can call that down. Only the last 4 digits to come down just to
Right,
verify,
send that, yeah,
right?
right.
And then the transaction goes through back in the cloud, and the transaction takes place. Fully protected. The merchant sleeps at night because they know there's not going to be a breach
Right.
by either them or one of their employees, because that's a bad world. And a lot of hairy stories out there of breaches of security, losing identity.
Right. Right.
Exactly.
But that's a very important
absolutely.
factor and component to what you're selling as well. So tell us some success stories, especially like with this rewards card. You've seen businesses really fly with this, haven't you?
Yeah, well, one success story, and Jim knows who I'm talking about, a new business started here in Mystic, Fields of Fire. And I went through my normal thing, the price, and they're a startup, by the way, the pricing and all that. And I said, okay, what's the phone line going to be at your Fields of Fire? What they do is, Fields of Fire, by the way, is a paintball thing, and I encourage you to visit them. And they said, well, we have.
Can't wait.
We don't have
Yeah.
telephone here. We have our cell phone, we don't have a telephone. I said, oh my goodness, how am I going to process this? Well, the solution is, in their case, the volume would be too good to put on a smartphone. So we have a wireless terminal. And it talks to the 3G network just like your cell phone does.
That's great.
And that's how they process it. A similar story is I have a charter boat where all the people get on the boat right away and the boat starts leaving the dock and traveling. Then they start processing the cards. Similarly, we have to use a wireless terminal for
fantastic.
that. Yeah. So those are kind of some success stories where it's not just saving the money, but solving the problem with some technology.
And can I add to that a little bit?
Yeah.
Because Tom Vignato, who owns Fields of Fire, is a good friend of mine. And they met, Alan and Tom met at the Groton Business Association at our annual breakfast meeting for economic update. Got to talk, hit it off. Al said, here's what I can do for you. And like you say, he solved the problem. What I was most impressed with is the first day they went live, I happened to go by, and it was the end of the day, and they were sort of, breaking everything down and winding down for the day. And Tom's wife, Enza, who handles the receipts and all, she said, all right, I know I went through this, and Al walked me through, but I
Now
had
what?
questions.
Yeah.
And she called Al, and within minutes, Al, I think you might have even gone down there, but Al said no problem and walked her through it and got her through it. But the customer service that Al provides is second to none. So he really
Trust.
does. It's trust. It's
Yes.
a great solutions to people's business and outstanding customer service, which that's what you hope for in every.
Right.
And I'm glad you
every
brought that
instance.
up
Right.
because I know in past segments we've used the word buy local. It's been a big theme here in Mystic.
Yes.
And I'm a firm believer in that. I'm a firm believer in participating in the community, the GBA. I go to all the networking events, all that, as I know Jim does. But what's happening, again, due to technology, there are telemarketing centers trying to provide merchant services remotely. They'll say, well, we'll depot ship you a terminal and we'll support you by phone. I'm at the higher end of the age curve here, and I may be a little bit old-fashioned, folks, but I kind of believe in the face-to-face support that we can bring to Enza if she has a problem and go there physically, explain it. There's something comforting when someone you know comes to you and explains it to you until you fully understand, okay?
Right. But I think that is what you do bring to the party,
Right.
Al. And I think as technology moves forward, there will always be that human factor behind that technology if you want to succeed. There has to be. I mean, even this technology world with Al's talking about it, and certainly the product is fantastic, but the bottom line is, push come to shove, when you have a problem, it's a lot easier to call Al, to solve that problem for you. In my industry, there's a lot. I mean, in the jewelry industry, it is 90% trust. And if you don't have trust in that industry, in the financial world, I can tell you it's 90. If somebody is taking care of my finances, I would say it's a little bit higher for Jim than it is for Al and myself, who actually have a retail product. Jim his retention has got to be right on, because you're not only talking about today's retail, but you're talking about somebody's future.
Correct.
So you have to be 99% right on. But absolutely, Al, I think with the product that you have is definitely beneficial to the small merchants and even big merchants. And hopefully you hit that one big one. But the bottom line is, if you break it down and where the local component comes from, and certainly we know this with the Chamber, and that's why we have programs like Mystic Matters, is to highlight the person that's behind the product. So if you think about local, that's that person behind that service that you can provide. Myself in the jewelry industry, and of course Jim Bates in the financial industry, and also this well over 700 members that belong to the Greater Mystic Chamber of Commerce. So Al, thank you so much for
pleasure.
I just have one quick question, if it's all right,
Sure.
Chairman Bates. Tell me about, real quick, 5 years from now, where is this industry? Where do you want it to be, Mr. Technologically minded engineer?
It's going to be more and more electronics. It's going to be more and more
Goodbye
smart devices.
paper.
Goodbye paper. Goodbye greenbacks in your wallet. Look at our children growing up. They don't read newspapers. They use their smart devices. They're texting.
Yes.
And they have debit cards already as teenagers that parents could make a deposit and they can go buy whatever. So they're going to be in that whole world of electronic payments, like big time.
Okay, so the first dollar that I earned was a long time ago. Actually, it was in my father's barbershop. It was a tip that someone had left me because I swept the hair in my father's barbershop. I'm going to keep that, because it's the first dollar that I earned. And I'm going to tell you, as we move forward, someone's going to want to pay me big bucks for that dollar. Okay? So I'm going to hold on to my paper money, because according to Al Valente, that's going to be gone.
That's true.
Okay. Well, thank you very much, Al.
Now, if someone wants to contact you,
Yes, absolutely.
How would they
Give
get
us
in
all
touch
your
with you?
information.
Sure. First off, as all our businesses are,
We have that right?
We're on the
Really?
Yep, that's correct.
Yep.
It's on their screen there right now. And at any time, you go to the Chamber's website, in the
Yes.
business directory, ACI Merchant Systems, it'll be there. So that's the best way to find it.
Thank you so much, Al.
My
It's been a
pleasure.
great show. And Chairman Jim Bates,
Signing
Chairman.
off.
Chairman Jim, in all due respect, Okay, Chairman Jim Bates. And he's going to be back, I think, throughout the year to pinch hit Patricia Walsh. She's still getting into the grind and learning a couple of things, so I'm sure there's going to be some times where she's got to be someplace else. So we know that we can count on Jim Bates to come in and pinch hit
Absolutely,
for
this is fun.
co-host. We are Mystic Matters, the Greater Mystic Chamber of Commerce. Good evening.
Your soul and spirit fly into mystic. Let your soul and spirit fly into mystic. Into mystic. Into mystic.